Welcome to Corey's Conscious Living.
Hi, my little friends. I was just working. I was sat here at my desk doing some recording and I had a thought about something, and you're never going to guess what I found. I found some cats that look just like Heidi, Cherry and VAYA. I was like, OMG, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Anyway, I've put the links down below for you underneath the video, so go take a look and hopefully you like them. Bye, guys.
Are you ready to meditate with Corey? Make sure that you're in your bed. You've got all your squishies and your snugglies around you, and you're all comfortable so that you can relax your body and let go of your busy, busy day. This story is all about a very special, unique, different, amazing boy called Ethan. The story is actually about a superhero called Empathico. But Ethan was the superhero. But Ethan didn't know he was a superhero. Well, he had an idea, but no one else in the entire world knew except his stuffy, his most favorite, precious stuffy, Fred the police dog. Now, Empathico was a superhero in an unusual kind of way. His special power wasn't something that was necessarily that obvious. Let me explain. Empathico didn't wear a cape, and he didn't wear like a fancy uniform or brightly coloured tights or anything like that. He wore ordinary clothes because, like I said, Empathico was Ethan. So because he wore ordinary clothes and he just looked like Ethan, an ordinary boy, then no one thought in a million years that he was a superhero. But Ethan did this thing. He was called Empathico. That's what Fred, the police dog, called him. He was called Empathico because he was an empath. An empath is a person that can feel the way other people are feeling. They also feel inside their bodies the way another person is feeling. So if they're with a friend that's really, really happy, they can feel how happy they are in their body, and they can also feel the energy of their emotion, like, wow, you feel so happy right now. But it also is the same for when people are feeling really sad. So when Ethan's friends or his brothers or his parents or anyone he knows feels really sad, Ethan can feel how sad they are, not only by feeling them, just feeling their energy, he also feels it inside his body. So he feels sad and he doesn't even realize why he feels sad probably. But he knows the other person is sad, and he has an innate feeling inside of him to try and fix the other person. That's why Ethan is known as Empathico by Fred the police dog, because Fred the police dog knows how important and how special and how amazing Ethan is by doing this. But the problem is, Ethan absorbs people's energy, and then sometimes he stays sad and he doesn't know how to not try and fix everyone out there in the world. Fred the police dog decided that he was going to try and help Ethan not take on everyone else's feelings in the world. Even though it was very nice and it made him a superhero and it made him very special, sometimes Ethan got hurt because sometimes he would be very, very angry or very, very upset or very, very sad or very, very depressed. Along with all the very, very happy and very, very excited and very, very joyful moods that you can feel, the bad moods were the really hard moods to handle, the really heavy moods to handle. And sometimes, when you're only a kid, you don't really know what to do with that. But the story today is all about Fred the police dog and his babies. Fred the police dog has some friends that live on a farm that chase chickens all the time. They're called Jack, Rosie, and Lily. They're his babies. Well, the babies are going to help Fred the police dog, help Ethan, Empathico, the superhero, to stop absorbing everyone else's energy. He can still be a superhero in his own way and help people and care for people and acknowledge that they're feeling sad, but he doesn't have to take on their energy. So Fred, the police dog, was trying to figure out how to help Ethan not absorb everyone else's energy in the world so that he could be a happy boy and just get on with his own life. Fred said to the babies who were chasing chickens around on the farm, "Stop chasing the chickens! You need to focus! You're my team! Come on, guys!" Jack, Rosie, and Lily ran over to where Fred was stood at the fence, just watching them chase chickens. Jack said, "It's just so much fun chasing chickens." Rosie said, "I know, I love it, I love it." Lily said, "It's the best in the world. These chickens are so fast." Fred said, I know, it's fun, but you have to focus, you have to listen to me. We have a problem. Empathico, our bestest friend, well, I don't know whether you've noticed, but his hands are getting bigger." Jack, Rosie, and Lily all stared at each other and looked at each other as if to say, "We haven't noticed his hands are getting bigger." And then Jack said, "We haven't noticed his hands are getting bigger." And Fred the police dog said, "Yeah, didn't you know? That's where he absorbs people's energy. He has these magical hands and he doesn't even realise, and he kind of just puts his hands out, like open. And then all of a sudden, like this sucky sound. No one else can hear it, only me," said Fred. "But this sucky sound starts to happen, and I watch Empathico and I look at him and I'm like, he's sucking up people's energy through his fingers. That's actually genius." "I thought it was genius," said Fred. "But then I noticed his hands started getting bigger. Over time, like all of the friends that were sad, and he sucked the sadness out of them when he was trying to fix them. The sadness is now in his hands. All of the friends that were super happy, well, he didn't take their happiness away, but he couldn't help absorbing the happiness, and now the happiness is in his hands. All of the friends and the people around him that get really, really angry, he was trying to help them calm down and feel better, didn't know what to do. Without realising, he just automatically sucked all of the anger and the energy out of those people into his hands. Now you would think this energy would just kind of disappear somewhere, wouldn't you? But it's not. It's like making his hands grow. And his hands are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if they get even bigger, his parents are going to notice. His mum's going to notice. His dad's going to notice. His brothers are going to notice. And then they're going to start to realise that he's empathico. And then we've got some problems on our hands. On some big hands, said Fred. No, seriously, we have a problem. We have to somehow figure out how Empathico can still be as amazing and different and unique and awesome as he is, but not absorb other people's energies, because that is making his hands grow. And we need his hands to stay normal so that we know he's staying normal. And his superheroism is disguised from the rest of the world. Said Lily. What are we going to do? Rosie said, maybe we can put a vacuum cleaner on his hands and suck on each one of his fingers and suck out all the energy. Fred the police dog said, that's a very good idea, Rosie, but I don't think that's going to work because I don't think it works like that. We could try it. That night, when Ethan was asleep, they got the hose and attached it to the vacuum cleaner that they had in the house. They waited till everyone in the house was completely asleep, and then they sucked on each one of Ethan's fingers with the hose of the vacuum cleaner, which was very, very noisy, and they were very surprised that no one woke up. But no one woke up. But Ethan's hands didn't change. The next morning, they had a meeting on the farm again. Fred the police dog said, it was a great idea, Rosie, but it didn't work. And I'm so surprised it didn't wake everyone up. Rosie said, maybe we can't physically suck out the energy. Obviously not, said Fred. Maybe this is something that we have to teach Ethan to do. Maybe Ethan has to do something magical with the energy once he absorbs it into his hands. Jack said, yeah, but how are we going to do that if Ethan doesn't even realise he's absorbing people's energy? Fred the police dog said, I could start guarding over him day and night. Every time I think he's going to absorb people's energy and I see him slowly open his hands, I'm going to intercept and I'm going to bark a lot. And then Ethan will be like, why is Fred so upset? And I'll be like, ruff, 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 and I'll just keep barking until Ethan gets distracted and stops. Rosie said, that's a really good idea, but I don't think it's going to teach Ethan to know what he's doing and how to stop doing what he's doing. You're just going to bark a lot. Fred the police dog said, yeah, that's right. Okay, all right. I think what I'm going to have to do is sit Ethan down and talk to him about being empathico. I'm going to have to let him know that he's empathico. I'm going to have to let him know that his hands are growing and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if they keep growing, he's going to get noticed. And then if he gets noticed, people might think he's a bit strange because he's got giant hands. And then they're going to want to know why he's got giant hands. And then I'm going to have to go to school with him and I'm going to have to do everything with him and I'm going to have to tell him, Ethan's got giant hands because he's empathico. He's a superhero. And you should be careful because if you're feeling anything that you don't want to feel, Ethan can't help himself. And he's going to really try and help you because he's a fix-it superhero. And he wants to fix everyone. He wants everyone to be okay. That's just Ethan. That's just who he is. I think I'm just going to have to sit Ethan down and talk to him, man to man, about what's going on here. Fred, the police dog, was quite nervous. He was pondering and pacing back and forward on the farm all day. The babies were still chasing chickens they'd already forgot. He was all alone in it. He wasn't sure what he was going to say to Ethan. Ethan was his bestest friend. Fred had been with Ethan Fred's whole life, and, he cared a lot about him. He really loved Ethan. What was he going to do? How was he going to tell him that he was a superhero? How was he going to explain to him that he's called empathico, and he's very empathic, and he absorbs people's energy into his hands, and his hands are getting bigger, and we need to figure out how he can absorb people's energy, but then somehow disperse it somewhere else so his hands don't grow enormous and not everyone in the entire world knows that he's actually very, very special and he's a superhero. Fred kept saying, as he paced back and forward. Eventually, Fred decided he just had to do it. He had to be brave. He had to have the conversation. That night, while Ethan and Fred were having a snuggle, Ethan was getting really tired. Fred had noticed that his hands had grown even bigger that day. He'd obviously been tired because he'd been working so hard trying to make people feel good, trying to make people feel happy, trying to fix their problems. Fred looked up at Ethan and said, Ethan, we need to talk. Ethan said, what's going on, Fred? Fred said. I'm sorry to tell you this, Ethan, but you're a superhero. Ethan started laughing because he thought Fred was joking. Fred said, I'm not joking, Ethan. I've been watching you for a while. Let me explain what's happening. There's people all over the world that are called empathics or empaths. When you're empathic, it means that you're really special because you can feel what other people feel like. And sometimes that's a really awesome thing because you're very understanding and you get to learn how to help people and talk to them and make them feel better if you can. But the problem with empathics is they think that they have to fix everyone because they feel everyone's feelings. But really, the truth is, empathics are just more aware of what everyone feels like. It's not their responsibility to make anyone change how they feel. You just have an invisible, magical vision that allows you to see and feel the way that someone is feeling. It's not any empath's responsibility to fix anybody. And even more important, you can't absorb the way that people feel. Being an empath is brilliant because you get to feel the way that people feel. But that's where it stops, Ethan. You're not supposed to absorb everyone else's feelings, and it's really easy not to absorb it. I've been thinking and pacing and thinking and doing things all day, and I figured out that maybe you could just acknowledge the way that someone feels, and then if you feel it in your body, you send it down to your feet and out into the ground. Like you feel the energy comes around you or maybe inside of you, because that's what you do, don't you, Ethan? Ethan just nodded, like he knew what Fred was talking about. Okay, so then you imagine that the energy is going all the way through your body, down your legs, down into your feet, and then you just push it out like with a blast, like push. And then all of that energy that you just recognized and felt off someone else that you're with is not in you. You know that that's how they're feeling, but it's not inside of you. Because I've noticed, Ethan, I've noticed that your hands are growing. And I think it's because you absorb the energy through your hands. And then you're getting it stuck in your hands. And before you know it, you're going to be walking around with like 20-foot hands and 20-foot fingers. And how are you going to do that without people recognizing that you're an empathico superhero? Ethan started laughing again. My hands aren't growing. Oh, yes, they are, said Fred. I've been with you my whole life and I can tell your hands are getting bigger. Ethan said, well, it's my birthday. I'm bound to be getting bigger. I'm getting older, Fred. No, you're not getting bigger everywhere else. Well, you are. You're actually getting taller and bigger, but your hands are getting really big. Ethan lifted his hands up and looked at his hands. His hands looked perfectly normal to him. And he knew that if his hands were getting really big, his mum would have noticed, and his brothers would have noticed. He said to Fred, Fred, do you think you have magical powers? Fred looked at Ethan and said, what do you mean? Ethan said, well, maybe you can see things that other people can't because my hands are the same as they've always been. They're no bigger, Fred. So what you're seeing must be something magical, meaning that you might have magical powers. Fred coughed, almost choked a little bit like he was shocked. I don't know what you mean. Ethan said, Fred, my hands are normal. They're not getting bigger. You must be seeing things. Fred said, you mean I could be a superhero? Well, that would make total sense, said Ethan, because if I'm a superhero in your eyes, then I think you're a superhero in my eyes. Maybe you see things that other people don't see, and that helps you to help people. Like I feel things that other people might not always feel, and I can help people because I feel things. We're superheroes together. Well, oh my goodness golly gee, said Fred the police dog. I always felt quite special. Well, I knew I was special because I'm a police dog, but I didn't realize I was superhero special, said Fred. Fred had a big smile on his face. I can see things that other people can't see. Ethan started laughing again. Yeah, Fred, what are you going to do about that? We can't have your eyeballs getting really, really big, can we? Fred the police dog laughed really loud. That would be funny. You having really big hands and me having really big eyeballs and no one else in the world notices. Just me and you, Ethan, just like always. Ethan said, No, seriously though, I hear you about absorbing other people's energies, and I will from now on, when I'm feeling someone else's sadness and I'm thinking, oh, I best make them feel better, I'm going to stop myself. I'm going to allow them to be sad because maybe they need to be sad, or I could just say something nice that might cheer them up, but I can't make it my responsibility to fix them. I'm going to absorb the energy in my hands, and then I'm just going to allow it to travel all the way down to my feet, and then I'm going to blast it into the grass or the ground or the tiles or wherever my feet are. And then I won't get ginormous hands. Okay? Fred said, All right, so then what I'm going to do when I see things that other people don't see or other animals don't see, I'm just going to see it and I'm going to be aware of it and I'm going to be really smart because of it, and then I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to blast it out the top of my head and then my eyeballs won't get really, really big, said Fred. Fred and Ethan had a little giggle together about it. But they both did feel much better knowing that they could see each other, really see each other, and they were so happy that they had each other. Ethan thought, thank goodness for Fred. And Fred thought, oh, thank goodness for my own little superhero. Empathico. Ethan the Empathico. They snuggled down and got comfortable even more. Ethan pulled up the sheets. The nightlight was on in their room. Everything was just right. They both closed their eyes and got really, really sleepy and comfortable and completely relaxed. And it only took just a few minutes before they were fast asleep. And Ethan was once again just a normal, brilliant, awesome, very different, but perfect boy. And Fred was just the perfect police dog. The end.